I was reflecting on Luke chapter 8, and the man delivered from a legion of demons. One thing stands out: the response of the people in the town. Instead of rejoicing over this incredible miracle, the restoration of a man whose life had been in complete ruins, they were afraid. Instead of welcoming Jesus, they asked him to leave. Why? Because the transformation came with a cost. The herd of pigs represented their livelihood, their economy, and their way of life. When confronted with the power of God and the disruption it brought, they chose fear over faith. They had a form of godliness but denied the power thereof, just as 2 Timothy 3:5 describes. This story serves as a personal reflection. Do I welcome God's transformative work in my life? Do I truly yield to His power to change me into the image of Jesus Christ? Or do I resist because of the fear of what it might cost? The pain, the sacrifice, the letting go of what's familiar. This isn't just a question for the unsaved. Even those who believe can resist the deeper work of sanctification because of what it requires. It's a pattern I see in others as well. I think of a woman I know in church. She attends regularly, is kind and sincere, and clearly desires a closer walk with God. But she's living with a man she's not married to. She knows it's a sin. She's acknowledged it, even cried about it during prayer. Yet something holds her back from breaking free and fully surrendering to God. What is it? The fear of what it will cost. Maybe she loves this man and cannot imagine losing him. Maybe she fears the loss of financial security or worries about how the separation will affect her son. The fear of stepping into the unknown, of giving up what's comfortable and familiar, keeps her from obeying God's call to holiness. It reminds me of the man in Acts 16, whose slave girl was delivered from a spirit of divination. Instead of celebrating her freedom, he was angry because her deliverance meant the loss of his income. How often do people resist God's work in their lives, not because they don't believe, but because they fear what it will cost? I faced this same battle in my own life. When I learned through Scripture that my second marriage was adulterous, it was a hard truth to accept. Walking away from that relationship was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. The fear of the pain, the heartbreak, and the unknown could have easily kept me from obeying God's call. But by His grace, I yielded. I allowed His power to do the painful yet necessary work of setting me apart for holiness. Another area where God's transformative power worked in me was in letting go of worldly fashions. The makeup, the jewelry, the outward adornments that I had used as a shield. I didn't feel beautiful without them. Makeup became a mask, a way to hide what I thought wasn't good enough. Letting go of those things wasn't easy. The fear of rejection, of standing out, of feeling exposed and vulnerable could have kept me back. But again, I had to make a choice. Resist out of fear or yield to God's power to sanctify me. Each time I surrendered, no matter how much it hurt, I found freedom. God's transformative power didn't just remove things from my life. It changed me from the inside out. The fear that once seemed so overwhelming lost its grip, replaced by a deeper peace, confidence, and joy that only comes from walking in obedience. The story of the Gerasenes is a reminder that transformation always comes with a cost. But the cost of holding on to fear, comfort, or the familiar is far greater. The question is, when God comes to deliver, restore, and change us, will we welcome His work with open arms, no matter the cost? Or will we let fear cause us to miss the fullness of what He wants to do in our lives? God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. May we always have the courage to choose His power over our fear, trusting that whatever He asks us to lay down, He replaces with something far greater.